This is the debate session from Rise Up. And welcome, Vijay ma'am. She is going to be a judge, as Satisha told. So, as always, we have debates, and today we're going to have individual ones. So, I'll just quickly tell the rules and regulations which has been followed throughout the sessions. So, as it is an individual debate, you need to stand by yourself. Okay, it's not going to be a group. It's just you who is standing for the pros and cons. So Veggie ma'am will be giving us a topic, and then as what you feel in according to your knowledge and your winnability towards topic, you can choose which side you need to stand for. You need to stand for the pros or you need to stand for the con side. So I welcome Veggie ma'am to tell the topic.
So thank you very much, Sri Lakshmi. Today's topic is, should we have law against abortion? I think you are conversant with abortion. So it is basically terminating pregnancy. Okay. It can be done medically. It may not be done medically. But in India, we have got the law against which allows abortion since 1971. Okay. So in many parts of the world, we have law which allows abortion. There are many there are many terms and conditions, how, where, when, but still in India since 1971 we are having law which allows abortion. In US there was law which was allowing abortion since 1973. That has recently, that is this last week, it has been reversed after 50 years. And now every state can have its own law, whether what they want to allow, whether they want to absolutely stop, whether they want to criminalize it. So every state can decide that. So your topic is, should there be law against abortion, for and against?
And as always, this is an individual debate, so we are following the alphabetical order. So according to that, Avinash is first.
So I'm here to present that I'm against that we should have a law against abortion. Like, we should not have a law, because why abortion? Like, you all know, I think all mothers would be very afraid to lose their own child. Then why would they think about abortion? So there must be very specific reasons for that, like very important reasons which would make them to do a such thing. Like, no one would be ready to sacrifice her own child. Like, as we all said, the mother's love is the most divine something. So why would they do that? So I think it's important because, like, when a person, like, when she or gets assaulted by men, like, due to her own, which is not her fault, she could get pregnant, but she doesn't have a responsibility to look after the child, because what to say, like, she's not involved in it, so why should he go and reclaim the child for her, for her own sake? Like, overall, after all these very immense pressure on her, like after this incident, should she take up the pressure of raising a child too? Like, what's the situation? So for all these cases, I think abortion is very necessary in our democratic life, but there are exceptional cases. But I would not say that abortion is must be made for all applicable things. But when it's proved or something, there should be a thing, abortion, for a woman to give access. And also talking about human rights, right? Every person have their own rights, right to live, so right to freedom. So they should take on their own decision. Also, when a person is not interested in having a child, like, they do not want to take the responsibility, so what should they do? Also, like, for example, talking about poor women, like, already who have
Avinash, your time is up. Yeah. Your time is up.
So yeah, so that's it.
Yes. So the next person is IT.
Good evening. My name is Ayati Ahir, and I'm standing with the law of abortion. So basically, it has two effects. We can either keep the fetus, or one can either remove it. If there's a law against abortion, one cannot remove the fetus. But there might be women who are not ready to have a baby because of a financial issues or maybe because of an unwanted pregnancy. So I feel there has to be some way. Um, this would also help to control the population, and like we had a triangle before independence which said that we should only have um, we should only have two or maybe less than two or something like that. So we would not need this thing again to come to exist.
Maybe you could speak a little more, like, Never mind. Next is Chucky.
So I stand for there should not be a law because every woman has their own rights. So it's their right to need an abortion or not. So about the advantages, like in the cases like rape or an accidental pregnancies, they should admit for an abortion. And about the disadvantages, some of them will use abortion for the cases like if their baby is a girl but they would be waiting for a boy. In that cases, they should not allow abortion. And in the cases like if a woman is not ready for a pregnancy, like about their financial issues and about their health or family issues, they should, they need a support for the abortion. So that's all. And I don't know about this topic that much. That's why I can only take this much of points. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I guess that's good. You just had 40 seconds more. Yeah. So the next person would be Rishikesh.
Okay, then I think that there should be a law against abortion because, and something to add is that there should be some like if if the if this woman is not ready for pregnancy, or if she is, can I talk after just one or two person? So I can't stand in one side
Actually,
because
by then, Nikhil, you can speak.
Okay, I stand with it should be upon the individual's choice if they want an abortion or not. If a person wants an abortion, it should not be opposed by the government, and should be their own right to choose it or to choose to keep the baby. It can be many reasons for why they want an abortion, be it mental, physical, or even financial issues. And the government should not deny anyone any of anything they want to do with their body. The government should be created for the people and should work for the people and not oppose whatever the person wants to do. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So Labana, I guess it's your turn now.
Hi everyone, I'm Labano. I stand with abortion. I think there should be a constitution right to abort because women should have control on their body. It's like they don't have enough freedom. And if the pregnancy happens unknowingly, if the woman don't need the baby, the abortion is useful. Yes, I only know this much about the topic. That's right.
Yeah. So next, Hrishikesh, now you're the last. You can go.
Is it me? Okay. So I think there should be a law against abortion because uh, I think at the same time I think there should be a right to a woman to choose abortion, but still I don't think that killing a baby is not much good. The baby also has a right. So and there is other ways like that can പറയാ ഇപ്പോ ആ കുട്ടീനെ ദത്ത് കൊടുക്ക് അങ്ങനെ എന്തെങ്കിലുമൊക്കെ ചെയ്യാൻ അങ്ങനെ അവർക്ക് ഫിനാൻഷ്യലി പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അപ്പൊ ഒരു അബോർഷനേക്കാളും നല്ലത് ഇതാണെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു. അതേസമയം ഇപ്പോ പെൺകുട്ടിക്ക് പ്രായപൂർത്തി ആയിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിൽ അബോർഷൻ അനുവദിക്കണം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെ വേറെ മെന്റലി അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫിസിക്കലി ശരിയായി ആയിട്ടില്ലെങ്കിലും അബോർഷൻ അനുവദിക്കണം എന്നാണ് എൻ്റെ ഒരു അഭിപ്രായം. അപ്പോ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ലോ വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ തന്നെ അങ്ങനെ വിട്ടുവീഴ്ചകൾക്കുള്ള ഒരു ഓപ്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടാവും. Okay, that's it.
Yeah. So if everybody has spoke, now it's the time to argue against each other. So I hope that all of you has noted down what the other told. And if you really disagree with something, then you can tell it right now. This is where the exact debate starts from.
Rishikesh, you said that now we could give Dattu Kodukka, means like give children to orphanage, right? That thing. But what if the person is not ready? Like she is very emotionally unstable or like some very mentally ill after some situation, or like, but I agree that when there are some other problems, but she could do that way. But what if the person is very emotionally unstable? So there can't be a law such that there should be a law for abortion only for certain cases, but there should be two contrasting laws now. So I think first of all they should give the rights. The government should give the, rights to for abortion for women primarily. It does not mean like giving them rights to not allowing abortion. So that's it. Also, can I add up a point like
Yeah.
if a fetus which is certain to die when to be born, like which is certain to die, how can you prevent that? Like it already has some problems within the body, so when it is certain to die before birth or just after birth, abortion is the only way to like if some parents who can see them like the kid when just be born, like also pregnancy leads to immense pain, and I think all of you know that. So before being born, we could eliminate such a risk by using abortion. So that's also an important case why abortion should be allowed. So that's it.
Great. What I realized was that probably you have not been exposed enough to the basic idea of what all is happening, or maybe you have not got enough time. So one thing that probably even before I go for giving the feedback or anything, would anybody like to comment after I say, let us think about who needs an abortion or who would go for an abortion? So who are these people who would want an abortion? And then probably you will understand what you have to argue for and against. So the girls or the women who are going for abortion, as some of you rightly recognized, it could be a case of rape, it could be a case of sexual assault, right? It could be unwanted pregnancy. It could be, could it be done at any age? You know, it could be a choice that a person is pregnant and doesn't want to have the baby. Or as somebody pointed out, financially. So looking at the entire range of people who might probably need this. When we are talking of framing a law against this basic activity, do any of you want to add any more thoughts on this?
Like for framing a law against this, or
Yeah, so what we have already, as I told you, that in fact, India has been, even earlier than US, we have framed a law which allows abortion, right? So there is this riders are there that it has to be done in certain place. It cannot be carried out by any person, right? All those riders are there, but still it gives the right to conduct the abortion. It is all right. It is the right of the woman. And recently in 2021 also, we have had another amendment which has further given the right. Like earlier, it was only the right of the married woman, or the partner could, or the husband could have a say. Now unmarried women can also go ahead and get it done. And the partner can have a say. So they have kind of reframed the entire vocabulary also. It has gone very much as a right of as some of you pointed out, it has become a constitutional right for the women. But what is interesting and why today this subject is interesting is this kind of the similar law existed in US for the last 50 years. Before 50 years, in 1973 also, they had to struggle a lot to get this law sanctioned or get this law made into a law that where they could, the women could actually go for abortion. But now after 50 years, they have reversed it. And if you would now probably after this session, if you go and check, there are equal number of people who are for it and against it. It's a very widely contested kind of a topic for various reasons. So we haven't actually touched upon even those all reasons why we want it and why we don't want it. That is why I'm just trying to move around. Is anything else coming to your mind? Okay. So, yeah. So as Avinash put it, I thought it was a very, I'll go person by person. So I think Avinash had a very emotional stand in this, talking about what mother would feel, how the child is a part of mother and the love is divine. And I think it is very appropriately said that definitely an abortion cannot, it is an emotional thing, very mentally traumatizing kind of thing to go for an abortion. Now when we speak of abortion, it can be done in different weeks, right? So there is this concept as to when do you consider life is viable, right? So even in our religious context, we consider sometimes life, not sometimes, even scientifically, when the ovum and sperm unite, we consider that is a viable life which has started. That first zygote itself is a viable life, right? From there to go for an abortion, from that first day to say 12 weeks to 20 weeks, we have around 36 weeks of pregnancy, right? So as in pregnancy, the woman progresses, the abortion will become more and more difficult. Earlier, it could be probably done by medical means, then it will have to be done by surgical means, then it will become actually risky to the mother. So, and every time, because it is some kind of emotional bondage, so this kind of an emotional appeal is good, right? But again, then Avinash has come up with another thing that if there is some kind of a congenital anomaly, right? If the child is probably going to die after the child is born, then we should abort it. Am I correct in understanding you?
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah. So when you say that, what about yeah, do you have any idea about this Down's children? Do you know children with Down syndrome? You know, they're slightly mentally retarded, not very highly intelligent, but they are still there around us. What about them? Should we have them or should we not have them?
No, we should have them because they have the right to live, right?
They have a right to live. And then a person with a severe congenital heart disease or a fatal disease, terminal disease, that person should not be there because anyway that person is going to die. Is that it?
I'm confused a bit, but yeah, I think because I have heard a case, like I have seen like a mother. I have seen a rare case on it because so I said that like a mother who already knows her child is only going to live for 3 to 4 hours, but she doesn't want to abort it. But after pregnancy, she saw her child, and after a few hours, the child died. So in that way, I kept it not for a long time. But I think your reason is very appropriate for it. Yeah.
So it's a very, I would say, Avinash, that it is a very important dilemma, you know, that we actually face. It's a very gray kind of a zone. And probably as a human being, taking the right of life on the other person, that is what we don't want to do. That how do we decide that person should live or person should not live? But as lawmakers, or as the law of a country has to be framed, there has to be something which will either allow it or not allow it. They have to be absolutely white and black. They cannot be in shades. They cannot be going on emotion. They have to go by certain rules and regulations, right? So that is it. So your emotional points were well put up, but I wouldn't say that it actually properly supported your view. Next was Ayati. Yeah. So that was very interesting, you know, that Ayati, you said that it could be the choice. So when you say it is choice of the person to choose whether to stay pregnant or not, whether to abort or not, can you say a little more? How do you understand this?
So, if there's a lady who wants to keep the child, according to the law, basically, abortion is made legal. But if it is not made legal, then the particular lady can't keep the child. But she can't abort it. But according to the law, abortion is made legal. So here, in this case, she can either keep the child or abort it. So it's like two ways.
Yeah, but here we are basing this very basic. It is so that could be actually one issue for those people who are talking against the abortion. You know, probably so being so carelessly planning the arrival of a life that you have it and then you decide, no, we cannot, probably it is not suiting our lifestyle, no, right now it's not okay. And then, so that's could be, maybe we are going too much to our, you're using our rights of having the child and not having the child. But again, here also, it is good. I mean, in the present context, that is something that can be done in India. That if a woman is pregnant and she decides before 20 weeks of pregnancy that she doesn't want to have the child for whatever reason, she can go ahead for abortion. So yeah, that kind of thing is possible. Another point you said was about population control. Would you like to say something about that now?
If we are not given a choice to abort, this means that we will have to keep the child. So the population would go on, like it would increase. If we are not
That's a bit too much of a projection. I don't think we should take abortion to that. So that would not be all right at all. I mean, we cannot be using abortion as a means of population control. Definitely not. It would amount to actually something what Hitler did. You know, it would be that is absolutely not okay. And it would have been good if you could have used your 2 minutes. You are allowed your research for 10 minutes, no? So that's about that. So Chucky, and so Chucky has got something what she is a real giving problem to the lawmakers, because she's putting a lot of condition, you know, that if there is a rape, the abortion should be allowed. And if there is she raised a very important point, that of gender discrimination. No? This is something which is it was earlier very, very common that people would go for abortion only because the child's sex was female, right? So this abortion law could have been misused, but now how are we trying to clamp it down? Anybody?
We cannot predict the gender of the child before pregnancy. I think in India, we cannot allow to reveal the child's gender before pregnancy.
It is illegal. So in fact, there is an entire, it is criminal if a doctor is found to be revealing the sex of the child, then it is illegal and they are not supposed to be doing it at all. So that it wouldn't be revealed. And if it is not revealed, then practicing abortion for this thing will be difficult. But is it happening? Yeah, probably it is still happening. There might be some illegal ways of still doing, and there are people who are so keen on having the boy child that they are still going for abortion. So yeah, it is a very practical problem. But the thing, Chucky, I want you to think about is that just because we are having this problem, this issue that there can be a gender discrimination, do we want this right absolutely to be taken away from the women? Because gender discrimination is something that, again, a patriarchal society is indulging in. Okay. And then again, you come down to the women who is probably for whatever and number of reasons wants the abortion. And then it won't be allowed. In fact, it would become criminal if there is a law against it. So you have any more thoughts on that?
No, ma'am.
Labano, right? So Labano is very clear about the human rights. And so Labano, I would like to ask you, whose all rights should we be considering? Is if we have the viable life, right? Is it not the right of that child also to live? While you're considering the right of the mother, would you be interested in the right of the unborn child?
Yes, but I think women should also have their right on their body. They should have the freedom.
This is going a little beyond the body, because now we have another life inside the body, right? So if it is something like some kind of a cosmetic surgery or something, then great, they have the right on the body. But now that is the basic argument of those who are like pro-life. They are called pro-life. So they say that, sorry, I mean, you could be having your right, but what about the right of the child? And if the life has already happened, who gives you the right to kill that? Any way you want to support here? Because you seemed very, I think that is one important point that you insisted on, that it is the right of the mother and it should be a constitutional right, which is fortunately right now, or maybe I should not be saying that, which right now is a constitutional right in India, that they can decide whether they want to have the child or not. But what about the right of the child?
I don't have anything to tell.
Rishikesh, very difficult to take a view, right? And whether he's against abortion or with about adoption, this thing. But he again brought up an important point, that aborted children, rather than getting aborted, they should be given for adoption. So Rishikesh, what do you think? This is a very, it's a very revolutionary kind of thought, that maybe we should first prepare the society to adopt all such children, and then everybody can be free and nobody needs to be aborted. Yes.
Yes, because എന്താ പറയാ, അതായത് ഒരു വ്യൂ നോക്കുമ്പോ, അമ്മയുടെ വ്യൂ നോക്കുമ്പോ അത് അവരുടെ റൈറ്റ് ആണ്. പക്ഷെ ഒരു വേറൊരു ജീവനുള്ളപ്പോ അവർക്കും ഒരു ജീവൻ എടുക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു റൈറ്റ് കൊടുക്കുന്ന രീതിയിലായി. ഇപ്പൊ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഈ പ്രായപൂർത്തിയായിട്ടില്ലാച്ച രണ്ട് ജീവനും അപകടപ്പെടുന്ന രീതിയിലാവും. അതുകൊണ്ട് ഒരു ജീവനെ രക്ഷിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി അബോർഷൻ നടന്നാലും കുഴപ്പമുണ്ടാവില്ല, കാരണം ഒരു ജീവനെങ്കിലും രക്ഷിക്കണമല്ലോ. അതാണ് എനിക്ക് പറയാനുള്ളത്.
Okay, so when you say Ori Jeevanengilum Rashikanam, are you talking just exactly about life or about the mental, physical health?
Mental, physical ആണ്. Yes, അതും.
If it is not life-threatening to the woman, it is okay?
Could you repeat it?
If it is not, if having an abortion, okay, it is not, or having the child, if it is not life-threatening to the mother,
okay,
Ammere Jeevanam is not under danger, okay?
Okay.
So is that okay? Then should they go for the child, or should they be allowed to abort?
There shouldn't be an abortion.
So Nikhil says that there should be right to abortion, and that for whatever reason, mental, physical, financial, and so anything you want to add after so many things we have told, Nikhil?
No, ma'am.
Anything Sri Lakshmi wants to say, because being the moderator, I think she is not allowed in the debate, right?
Yeah, what I was telling is that in our textbooks, this idea wasn't given. Even though many other ideologies were given, this topic was not there. So if you personally ask me things, we just have the general idea. Family don't talk about it much, or they don't tell you something. So it's just what you know from the films, and maybe somewhere in some reading books you find it in between. So even I don't have a very good idea about it. You just know that if you don't want a kid, and then you're just aborting it. That's just the idea you have. And even I feel it's a personal choice, but also at a point you feel that there's some kind of a life inside, so you don't need to throw it out. But still, if you see the personal stability of a person, you might feel that maybe this is not the correct time. So I can't stand up with something. Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay to educate for 5 minutes, right? So I would start with one very important statistic. The important statistic is 10 women die every day in India, just during abortion. So who are these women who are dying every day in abortion? These abortions are basically conducted in an unsafe manner. Now, so what does that mean? That means one very important thing, that we have a demand of abortion. Abortion is something which is, which from very beginning of our civilization, for whatever n number of reasons, sometimes it is to avoid stigma, mostly it is to avoid stigma, that or the girl is unmarried, or there has been a rape, okay? Or there has been an incest. Okay? So in these kind of times, then somehow or the other, because if it is not a legal thing, or even when it is legal and it is not easily accessible, then the girl or the girl's parents or the family would opt for means of abortion which are unsafe. Okay. So when we have a law for abortion, one of the things that probably we are ensuring is that we are letting some legal methods of this happening. Okay. So when we, so there are, for probably these 10 women who are dying every day, we intend to save them. We do not want that such young females should be dying just because going on whatever, doing some kind of means. Sometimes they themselves are taking some pills. Sometimes somebody who's absolutely not trained is going for it. Now coming to the next thing, that who needs an abortion? Okay. Who would go for an abortion? It could be a young girl who has had a teenage pregnancy and has not got married. She might be wanting to get an abortion. There could be unwanted pregnancies. Okay. There can be failure of contraception, that they never wanted it, they planned it, they used contraceptive method, but the contraceptive method failed. Okay. So those can be. Or there has been some kind of, as somebody pointed out, that there could be some kind of an illness that the baby is suffering, because of which could be fatal, or which could be very difficult to manage. It would be having so much of morbidity, and maybe the child will not have a long life. And we do not want neither the parents want to have spend that many resources. They don't have the strength, financial ability to go through that. That could be another reason that they could be wanting abortion. Sometimes it could be actually risking the life of the mother. Okay? A baby in the womb sometimes can be a risk to the mother's life also. Physical issues. Okay. So when there is a law that you could probably choose it, then going towards all this is not very, so there is a person who thinks rightfully that this is something that they want or they need, then they have a very legal outlets to go, and then they can go and they can actually, the schemes we have like ESIS, Ayush schemes, these all schemes actually sponsor these abortions. We are okay with that. Even any person in India, if they want to legally approach a government hospital and they want an abortion, it is state's responsibility to get it fulfilled. All right. So, but those who are have something against it, they are the ones who think that because you have a law which allows something like that, you could be misusing it. Okay? And because it can be then it can be done as a shopping, that you want a child, okay, we'll take it. Then the behavior of those who are involved in having a child could be irresponsible. And in general, the society's behavior could be such that everybody is somehow involved in some kind of, premarital, extramarital, or whatever kind of illicit sex can be there, and then the woman is becoming pregnant, and then they can just get away with it because they do not want to carry it forward. So does this actually decay and degenerate the values of the society? That or are we insulting the basic life that or are we actually taking up the life of a new life which could have been very viable and could have become an individual? Do we have that kind of right? So these are the kinds of pros and cons that one needs to think about and do. In US, the feminist movement was very much in place, and they had a long battle, because even now, if there is a law against abortion, then if the woman is raped, then also she cannot have an abortion. Okay. If the child is born out of incest, then also she cannot have an abortion. The only condition that they allow for abortion is that if it is a risk to the mother's life, only then that is allowed. While the rules and laws that we have in India, it allows that if there is a contraceptive failure, one could go. If the mother wants to do it before 20 weeks, then under the supervision of one registered medical practitioner, that a doctor, okay, a doctor can decide, and a doctor who is basically having some kind of training can do it. If it is above 20 weeks of pregnancy, then they need the consent of at least, or the opinion of 2 doctors at least. And beyond 24 weeks. So there has been a case where a girl was raped and she became pregnant, and she had 24 weeks of pregnancy. Okay. And in our law in India also, at 24 weeks and after that, the abortions are not allowed. Okay. So they had to raise that. They raised that thing, and the judgment came from the Supreme Court that she was not allowed. And then this entire discussion came that why does she have to carry the burden of rape child? So when Avinash says, or Rishikesh says, that adoption is a good idea. So if we have reached, or our society has reached that place where we do not attach that kind of stigma, okay, and the children are the responsibility of the state to be raised, and they can be ensured, maybe the picture can be different. But when it is not there, should we be having law against abortion? So these are the, I think, ways one needs to think. Okay. In fact, when earlier, in fact, not earlier, even now, we have this Indian Penal Code from 312 to 316, okay, which says that it starts like if there is the consent of the woman for abortion, but somebody aids the abortion, then there can be 3 years imprisonment. Okay. If there is no consent and somebody still goes and carries out the abortion, then there can be 10 years imprisonment. So there are from 312 to 316, there are different kinds of laws which somehow or the other criminalizes abortion. That is against that, we have come with our medical termination of pregnancy, where now it has become the kind of discretion of the medical practitioner also. While it is the right of the woman, it has also become the discretion of the medical practitioner. So if it is a minor child, then if the medical practitioner thinks that it is okay and the parents' consent is there, then they can go for it. Okay. If it is a major, then the registered medical practitioner can go and get it done. That is, then there is no issue. But otherwise, just somewhere somebody is doing it, then it will come under your different kinds of crimes. And it will also ensure some kind of punishment, which could be 3 years of imprisonment to 10 years and life imprisonment. Okay. So there are many legalities which are there. What I feel about not just this law or about any law, any law, any given law can be used or misused. Okay. Because there are always some loopholes which are left. So if there is a society which is probably ethically and morally right, then for the correct reasons, maybe we need the person could go for abortion and then it will be fine. Okay. But when absolutely nothing is legal and everything is criminal, then now I would say, like some of you, if any of the students, right, they are in India and they go ahead to US, and there is, for whatever reason, they have had a pregnancy which they do not want, or somehow accidentally it has happened for whatever reasons. Just because a change in the country has happened, the entire way their rights will play out will be very, very different. Okay.